Hi everybody, your monthlies are finally coming out. I really had to kind of resolve in my own head how to do it to balance between everything I want to do for you and my current inability to actually donate as much time. So I decided to go free flow. And free flow, it's not going to have any kind of spread attached to it. I'm simply going to ask possibly different decks to give me messages for you. And we'll go with that. And this is sort of like really high level message that, it's going to tell you where you can go and to what you can amount and what you have to watch for. Like sort of like basic kind of like let's go for it kind of thing. I'm going to give in my bi-weeklies, which are always on the 1st and 15th published. So I'm sticking to that. And for those of you who are looking for X situation on and off, like there are also those series that are coming out every month. Now, before I move further, I actually want to send a shout out to everybody, and hopefully you will be joining in this particular proposal that I have. So I'm in the process of actually building my own card deck. It is collaboration between me and Mira, a wonderful, extraordinary artist. And so we are bouncing off the ideas back and forth. She's adding her basically touch to it, and everything that I have seen so far is like coming out really wonderfully. Now, I would actually like you guys to have your own touch to this basically making. And so I'm not doing this haphazardly. I don't know how much you know about me. I'm also a marketing professional. So I'm trying to select a group of people, 10 to 20, that, can give their 2 cents. And this is not like kind of a call for you giving accolades. This is really, I can understand this message in it. No, I cannot understand message in it, because that way you're going to set us straight to be on the right path. And so I'm trying to actually select these 20 to have men and women, people from all walks of life, people with all kind of tarot experiences, from, hey, I'm just here to watch it, to, yay, I am basically a guru. So if you guys are willing to jump on board, please go to www.cattarot.ca/focus group and just like submit your application. Why do you think you should be the one in that group? And I really, really appreciate everybody doing that. This is non-paid position, and it's purposely non-paid position because I do want you to give me a rough time. And this way, it's going to be a really wonderful creation, because sometimes I may be too much up in the air. I'm an air sign, and maybe I need to be grounded a little bit more, because I really like abstract. Other people really like ground. So hence, this collaborative kind of like pointers would really help to set me and Mira sailing in a better direction. And it's going to be a few rounds of this. This is a very, very first preliminary round. And I'm really, really thanking in advance to everybody who actually spent time even listening to this plea, and especially to those who actually apply or participate in a study. Thank you so much, and I look forward to applications. All the best. And now for the rest of us, let's jump right into the reading. Hi Gemini, let's check what's October bringing for you. I actually really wanted to read all those horoscopes on the 10th, but it's just like this is exhausting. So let's start with checking the rune. I actually just did Taurus reading, and I did get the blank rune, the weird. The rule generally is like you're not supposed to read runes afterwards. So I am not so sure if this rune is telling me off or is warning you. So take this rune with a grain of salt, okay? So anyway, this is the rune of boundaries. This is basically showing a thorn, right? This is thorn or to recess, depends how people really interpret this. This actually means that know when and where you must stop, right? And so thorn bushes were basically dividing parcels of land, and hence this is why they suggest boundaries, right? So the appearance of this rune is talking about and associated with personal boundaries, and has come to represent limitations and perils of crossing the line, quote unquote, right? And this can also represent personal danger. This can warn that there are people around you who are dishonest or who maybe are actively working toward your downfall. This can be very, very true if you currently in your life are involving yourself in any kinds of business dealings. So this reading acts as a timely warning, urging vigilance and advise you against taking unnecessary risks. So be prepared to defend yourself. And I kind of like seeing it in tarot. So I really think that the rune did give me the right answer, because there are quite a few things that that are happening here. First, you're coming up with this tsunami. You know what tsunami is. It's a huge, scary, natural, destructive phenomena, right? Like, so if you have to rank it, like earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, and tsunami, it is like right up there, right? So this is triggered by an undersea disturbance, right? It's typically undersea earthquake or volcanic eruption, and kind of like move these plates right underneath, and that causes a series of powerful waves, and they travel across the ocean, and they're like really, really fast, almost like I think 500 miles per hour, just like faster than an airplane. And on the open oceans, it doesn't appear this much because the height of those waves don't appear really big, and they kind of like generally they don't get noticed, right? So as these waves, which collectively are called tsunami, get closer to the shoreline, then their height starts to increase enormously, sometimes up to, you know, like, I don't know, meters. Okay, I'm trying to go into yards, but like sometimes can be 50 yards, kind of like high, right? So they collectively can actually squash you. But what is really interesting that like they're not moving fast anymore. They're actually slowing down to like something like, I don't know, 50 miles per hour. Or for those of us in metric system, that kind of like will be about 75 kilometers per hour or so, right? And the distance between the waves, right, can be 20 to 30 minutes, right? And it is like through, like when they hit basically the land, the water recedes rapidly and dramatically, and then like as it recedes, it's followed with an enormous wave that comes as a surge, right? So it is that receding that is a clear sign of impending tsunami, and that's when you see the animals running, because they actually hear that sound, they feel that pull. So guys, you are getting this pull right now. The long story short, you're getting a wake-up call. It can be in very, very different ways. You might be experiencing some significant loss or some other dramatic event in your life. It's generally something that you're not prepared for initially. You might feel shocked at first, because it is something that absolutely right now you cannot foresee, right? You also will realize that it was maybe something that you just like ignored, and you will have to confront some truth that was maybe existing in some kind of subtext of your life, right? Something that kind of like is not right on the surface, but sort of is beneath the surface, sort of a thing, right? Just like it might be a soap opera of your own. And so don't amplify this any more than it's already happening. So just like with tsunami, right? Often when you look back after something like this happens, you will see the signs that kind of like announce this, that receding. You have seen it, just like the waves didn't seem big, right? With tsunami, maybe something has been happening, and usually happens when other people are feeling that they are actually telling us something, and when we don't hear it, these kind of waves get bigger and bigger. This is why we actually end up yelling at somebody who just like doesn't seem to comprehend us, because we understand, they hear well, but it's just like, oh my gosh, how come you're not getting it? You're not getting it. So that's when you get like tsunami, right? So just maybe think back about your previous tsunamis in life. What kind of like steps, if you can recall, happened there, just to see if maybe you can sort of be forewarned this time around, right? This could be something that is connected to your family, because you're getting this very second card, ancestors, and I'm trying to connect that, right? Because lots of work on this card comes from aboriginals, right? And they really were in contact with planet and everything that is going on. But let's go first back to generations, because who are we after all? We are just the end of lineage that, who knows, started how many thousands of years ago. And yes, we are this bloodline, we see this blood over here, but we also inherited spirit, even though the theories say that spirit could be coming from completely different ways, maybe somewhere else from the sky, right? Maybe from a different planet. In any case, we are what we are. Since we basically are both biologically and soulfully connected to spirit beings, right? We can actually also call upon them for guidance and assistance. We are not aware, we always just look on the outside. It's just few of us that start getting, okay, wait a minute, I can also look into my microcosm, right, inside. So the Australian Aboriginals considered basically their ancestors the core of their spirituality and culture, and this is their I think rainbow serpent, right? And they consider the rainbow serpent basically the spirit that created all life on earth, that she is intertwining herself, right, through the hands, fingers, representing how basically those aboriginals, those aborigines honor the creation, right? Keep in mind that no matter who you are and no matter what you amounted to in life, you have to be grateful to your ancestors, right? So next time you're maybe outside, open yourself to that spirit, to kind of like feel the air on the outside and kind of like feel this inside as well, and allow your heart to open and to thank, because you guys, you're coming into power, and for some reason you're asking to honor your ancestors. That's the wake-up call. It's almost like that, maybe knocking on a door saying that you haven't honored them, and because of that you will get this knock, that wake-up call. It will be something with the family that may turn around really quickly. Maybe you kind of like realize, okay, maybe I haven't called my mom in a while, or I always do that on Christmas, on Easter or something, right? Maybe I can just pick up the phone or just drop by and just say hi. Maybe that was going to preempt and resolve the situation, because you guys are getting into power. I was just doing Taurus and they had the same card. And look, the power corrupts, and the absolute power corrupts absolutely. So power itself is not good or bad, right? It's what we make out of it. So I can see that this power you're going to use for your creativity, guys. I mean, you have in the next line really interesting set of cards, because you have the Empress and the Emperor facing each other, and again we have this serpent flowing around. You see, that's the serpent in life, and it's almost like as if this card is continuing. This is like uniting both the feminine and masculine. So if you're female,
maybe you need to kind of like come and reconcile that masculine part of you. Maybe for some reason you feel that there is a certain way of dealing with things, and now I'm going to see things from a different side, and vice versa. Maybe you're the guy who always thinks, I have to be stoic, I have to do this or that, but now I'm maybe going to approach things in a kind of like, maybe kind of like feminine way. You see, it certainly, both of you will be breaking some kind of chains. It was enough. This rulership has to stop, right? And then you have this little card in the middle. And isn't this enthusiastic? It's just a child can be this innocent and go into this adventure, right? So this kind of means being full of trust, and you're going from this darkness to this like rainbow light, meaning like you're going to feel really vibrant and enthused, right? It's kind of like moving into this new and moving into unknown with this like amazing innocence of a child, meaning like maybe the smallest things are going to be meaningful and encouraging for you, right? So it's going to be the whole range from creation. And I don't know if you can see how, you see how her hand over here, if I can make it closer, you see how her hand, her bloodline that you had it over there, is like connecting with the whole nature. This is, she's like that sort of like Mother Earth, right? So it's kind of blessing to the others, while basically the rebel is the powerful and authoritative figure, right? That is the master of his own destiny, right? So the rebel challenges us to be courageous enough to basically take responsibility to live the life of who we really are and to live our truth. So this also, by the way, can mean that you guys will shack up with somebody, that you finally found your king, or that you as a king found your queen, because this is that best couple you can find in tarot, and they're here. Maybe, you know, you're going to be out for some kind of adventure, and there is another king that is showing over here. So in Law of Attraction tarot, this first card is basically the Professor, and in this deck that basically describes a single guy, a single man, somebody who can be a widower or somebody who is separated. This is somebody who is very strict and who kind of like insists on obedience to rules and laws, right? So given that you are going to be the ones, and pardon me, I move and then the camera starts to freak out. Okay, now we have this beautiful whipped cream, and who can resist this? It is something that I just absolutely admired as a child and waited for this. So basically, what do we have here? It's some kind of gratification. So it's kind of like everything with you is like extreme. Somebody's going to be strict. Somebody might cause the whole kind of issue. It could be your boss. But then you get your gratification, right? This talks about dream fulfilled, either with consensus of your family or, you know, of your eventual partners. And this is definitely kind of hopefulness for the future, pardon me, hopefulness. And that kind of like links to that adventure and links to basically family and ancestors. Something could be that somebody is going to create some kind of spark in family meetings. And maybe something already happened. Maybe something happened during Thanksgiving. Maybe something happened during your Columbus Day. Maybe it was the gathering with your family that basically already kind of like created some tension or created some solutions. And here you have basically the Harris. I always think of Paris Hilton when I see this. But this card is supposed to kind of like talk about a middle-aged woman, possibly with brown hair, who will also be very prominent for you in October. She will be actually helping you. She might come across as somebody who is fluff, somebody who doesn't have substance, but this person can really help you. And it could be that this is somebody kind of very strict, very kind of dry, and this is somebody really pragmatic, and kind of like you're almost closer to this one. Not that you're strict or dry, but like both will be needed. Kind of like be very careful not to sacrifice your feelings to gain power, right? Because this power keeps repeating. This is an earthy power. This is money, coming into money, like cream of the crop, right? If you really think about it. But you will have to follow the rules, right? Which now we're actually coming to this last part of tarot. Lastly, the tarot that you got is really interesting. First of all, 7 of Wands reversed. So you'll feel overwhelmed. There is going to be opposition that you'll be facing, and you will kind of give up for some reason. Then you have healing period. You have looking for hope. You kind of like will be able to walk in the water in this period. So it's going to go from this tsunami to healing, to kind of like feeling together and getting out of any difficulties. This is kind of getting out the cold kind of a thing. And a possible flirtation or love offer. And again, okay, I'm tired now. I will give up. I'm kind of fucking burnt out. I'm dinged. I just can't anymore. And then coming back to certain issues that maybe have been pesky for quite a while for you. So guys, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do Lenormand, so we can actually kind of like see a little bit more in detail. But in short, this high level, you guys are getting into understanding yourselves. You are really curious. Be careful. Also, curiosity killed the cat, right? That's kind of like very prominent in your chart, that this power has to be used and not to be abused, and that you really need to set your own boundaries, but also boundaries of the other people as well. So let's check you out a little bit more. Gemini, October 2017. Look at this, one significator is already jumping out. Gemini, October 2017. Anchor. Interesting. Gemini, October 2017. Gemini, October 2017. So we have the journal, the fish, wow, and the bouquet. So remember I said be very careful with your business dealings. This is possible talking about some kind of entrepreneurial thing that maybe did work in the past, right? But it's going to be the person who will start, you will actually have the surprises. This could be your tsunami, right? Because here we see the snake, the temptation, you see standing between you, right? And success. So wiseness and how you approach issues will be really important. And this is that unknown. You see the unknown and anchor that kind of jumped out. Don't overcommit, right? Do not overcommit. It's kind of like really prerogative over here. So let's see what we have here for you. There you go. Look. Now, this is a significator. Both of them can be significators, guys. And it is telling me about some kind of temptation. Somebody from the past is resurfacing, and you'll be very tempted to cut him off. And I think you're going to see it as a solution, because you have this like lucky 2 cards in basically neighborhood of each other. And this is a commitment to something, and something that and this is a commitment in terms of relationships, and this is commitment in terms of money, right, as well. So you have been going through some kind of hurdles recently, maybe legal issues, maybe direction in life. It could have been a whole bunch of different, directions that you could have taken, right? Because this definitely talks about communication, but communication not going anywhere. And maybe for some of you, this kind of can denote even a prison or imprisonment or feeling stuck, right? This kind of like really period of time kind of felt really weird, and it kind of like needed to kind of dig yourself out of the hole. And for that, it was needed to kind of decide on this crossroads. So here, this is telling me it could be somebody from long distance that you maybe are interested in, because the stork is definitely obviously talking about like the lady and the stork, about maybe engaging into extracurricular activities with somebody, and somebody who is, from not exactly from the place where you live, or you could be going on some kind of travel. This certainly can, is talking about the new beginnings, it talks about a change, and it talks about exploration of maybe a certain person, kind of like completely new directions where you can go, right? So this can be even a proposal. This even can be a new business contract, a new job offer, a key to something else. But there will be a part of you which the snake could be the same person, right? Because we all have positive and negative parts of us. In any case, I really see, look, you have the stork and you have the child here and the ring. I don't know, guys. There is somebody from the past, and then this person from the past, because the lilies can talk about somebody from the past and somebody who, I don't know, who have gray hair, somebody who's a doctor, somebody who's professional. But something is being cut off, and that's the key to the solution. That's the tsunami warning that I was telling you about, right? So that's the ship here. It is kind of really interesting because I do see some things that will kind of pull you back, such as the mice. It's kind of like nagging issues, daily issues, kind of exploration. And the mountain are the bigger issues, kind of like challenges and possible delays and obstacles. And it could be something that is really related to, in your case, to family, right? It could be related to inheritances, because it's definitely talking about some kind of money. But at the same time, you're kind of like, you're going with the flow, because the moon basically says that, like it says that your reputation is really, really important. And the moon is always saying, look, things are not exactly as they appear. Just kind of like don't overreact. Don't kind of like jump on every small one, because look for the bigger picture. And then it's going to possibly come to you. Remember how you had kind of like that unfoldment, the whole thing? And this could be also the woman that will help you. That's really a joke. And I'm a horrible joke teller. So please prepare yourself for a really bad delivery. So the bird is flying to the south, and the weather gets cold, and the bird drops down on the earth, and she's dying. It's too cold for little birdie to survive. But a cow passes by, and she kind of like, she sheds on her, right? And that dump somehow gives birth refuge, and she's starting to come back to life. It's kind of warming her up. And all excited that she actually is not going to die. In fact, that she's like all well, she's getting herself out, starting to chirp, and the fox realizes, hey, there is the bird, jumps and eats the bird. So the moral of the story: not everybody who shits on you is your enemy. And when you're nice and cozy and warm and everything works okay, keep your mouth shut. So this person might not be your enemy. It could be somebody that you had issues in the past, and it could be somebody else that you need to cut off. So it will be really interesting, Gemini, to get your comments. You know that I always like your comments. Even though you guys are never talking, I'm getting most of my orders from Geminis. But oh my gosh, somebody would say, you guys never talk. So be it. I'll watch to those who do. And to seal the reading, I wanted to pull one card, but two of them jumped. So the very first one you got was Into the Unknown, and it kind of like really sealed. It was reversed. It seals the reading really nicely. So this is what it says: trust, and all will be revealed. So that's pretty much the same thing that I was telling you about the moon. So this is what it says: inexperience plus overconfidence can lead you into a dangerous situation for which you are unprepared. Always remember that wisdom comes from experience. Keep an open mind and enter this part of your journey with alert eyes. Don't assume you know this territory. You may not recognize what is hidden by camouflage. This is not a time for careless adventure. So planning, 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 right? Because here it was telling me that you might kind of consider giving up and just take it easy. And the second card that you got is reversed, making a choice. So it says, you're required to come to a decision now. This is not a time to abdicate responsibility for your life. Letting others choose for you doesn't make things easier. Don't compromise because you're afraid of facing the consequences of your choices. Even you have opted for a difficult path, you can always make another choice in the future. There is great power in reclaiming your ability to choose. No one can take that away from you, no matter what. Don't give your power away. If you are willing to be rigorously honest with yourself about your motives behind your choices, you may see the need to change things. You can change course and choose another route. Just be willing to clean up what you have left behind. So guys, lots of things will be in your hands. You will be warned, and the warning might come the very last moment, but the crossroads will be here. And yet the others will be healing so much, and this new love affair, or coming back maybe, or somebody's coming back, re-offering love. It could even be a proposal. So guys, enjoy a wonderful month, and in a few days you're also going to get bi-weekly, and my bi-weekly is more kind of like down to earth, more kind of like shows the real situation, and this is just telling you how far you can go and what to watch for. So Gemini, I challenge you to leave basically a comment. Let's see if you can do it. And until the next time, you know that I love you and I'm here for you. All the best.